I'm Herb Barrett, the Department or State Chairman for the American Legion National High School Oratorical Contest. This contest is, as I mentioned, a national contest, but it does start on a local level with our individual posts. In Missoula, we have two posts, number 27 and number 101. And today we have representatives from each of these two posts to tell us a little bit about what they're doing on the post level for this contest. I'll ask Jerry Byington from Post 27 to first tell us a little bit about what they're doing.
Thanks, Herb. We're pretty excited about this year's contest. We've done quite a bit of groundwork already with the community and with the high schools. The high schools that our post is responsible for are the one out in Frenchtown. We have Sentinel High School, Hellgate High School, and Valley Christian. And we've got quite a bit of support from those high schools. We have some private citizens in the community who are well aware of what the oratorical contest is about, what it does for our youth, and some of the results that can happen, which are pretty fantastic. Our local post contest is going to be on the 24th of January. That's a Sunday, and it's at 1 o'clock. And all the public is encouraged to attend that, as well as any other contests that we might have that they can get to, all the way up to national if they choose to do that. We've got some people in the community who have, and businesses who have graciously given some financial benefit to the post for the post winner, and some of that money is also going to be applied toward the department winner or the state winner.
Jerry, is there any one segment of the school population that you would like to have come to this?
Sure. I think to start with, it would be a benefit to anybody to come, but particularly, excuse me, the high school age children or students can particularly benefit. Typically, the contestant that we have will be a junior or a senior in high school. If a sophomore, for example, wanted to come, that'd be great. They can see how it's done. They can. It's almost like a training period for them to judge what they need to do the next year. And they do have an advantage because it's on the same type of subject every year. It's always on the Constitution and the topics of the speech. And they can see the people. Sometimes it's their, in some cases, even their own family members who are there. Mm-hmm. It's not unknown for siblings to follow siblings through these contests. But I would like to see also our contests get down into the middle school area, like the ones that we had when I was growing up, oratorical or oration contest it was called then.
That'd be fine. Now, Dan Gallagher, past commander of 101. Dan, what are your remarks about this?
Well, as you know, Herb, the schools that we service are Loyola High School and Big Sky High School. We've been doing this now for about 10 years, pretty much most of the existence of Post 101, and we've had a lot of success with it, and especially with with both the high schools, but in particular Loyola High School, which has a real active speech program anyway. I think the importance of the oratorical contest is both the academic or the intellectual part of it, the fact that it is a pure contest. It's a contest in which the kids compete against a standard as well as against one another. And in addition to that, there are scholarships that are available. And we at the post level usually have our contest the first week in February, and that's in conjunction with the sequence of events of the contest on up to the national level, which I suppose is in next spring, I think is in April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But we at the post level contribute a small amount toward their academic future. The awards that the kids get are in the form of scholarships or something they can use for further education. But I think more important is the fact that these young people compete and they learn a lot in the process of their competition. You know, the oratorical contest, as most of you know, is I think from the late 1930s when it began, and I think as an example of how nonpartisan, how fair this contest is, one of the first winners of the National Oratorical Contest was a man named Frank Church from Boise, Idaho, a very liberal senator, so that dispels any myths that you might have about the conservative bias within the organization. So I think this contest, to me, is one of the best competitions that the American Legion conducts. We also take the kids from the high school, usually it's a junior or a senior who wins the contest. We've had good fortune. About 5-6 years ago, our Post 101 winner went on and won the state competition. And I think the schools in Missoula and in this western Montana area have always been well represented with winners. Mm-hmm. But mostly in the last 5 or 6 years, this contest has been well promoted, due in large part to your efforts, Herb, and in the state. It languished for years, and now it's something that's being promoted. Now there are scholarships available. Now there's a real incentive for the kids to get involved. And I think that if we could get a message out to the teachers and to the kids, it would be that they should get involved in this competition, because it's open to not just speech students, it's open to history students, it's open to all kids. And you don't have to be a speech student to win this. And it's something that all the people can be involved in, and it's a real promotion of education. So it's something that the school can benefit by, something that the kids can benefit by, and of course it's something the American Legion benefits by. Part of our reason for existence is not simply to take care of veterans and address veterans issues, it's also to deal with the public and public service. And this, I think, is one of the best educational public services the Legion has.
Yes, the Legion has any number of programs for children and youth. That's we have a whole department that deals with nothing but that. And I notice here, Dan, in looking over a past list of department winners you had in 1988, and Andrea Friedenauer. I think she was from Bonner, wasn't she, if I remember right?
She's from out in that east Missoula area, and she was the daughter of late Greg Friedenauer, who was in the county attorney's office. And Andrea did an outstanding job. She was outstanding. She's now going to school on the scholarships, in part on the scholarships that she won through that contest. She's going to school. One of the areas that she was studying was in fact speech, public speech. So there are all sorts of benefits. If I recall correctly, at that time, and it's increased since that time, but at the time, I think Andrea won over $1,800 in scholarships.
I believe so, if I remember right. And Jerry, I think this is before your time with the contest. We had a Frank Sennett in 1986, young man from Hellgate High School. I remember fathering him through the program, getting him started on it, and he ended up going to Northwestern University. Saw him back here one vacation, and he was all enthusiastic. In fact, he was involved in teaching or doing something at Northwestern, and he was telling everybody about this contest. And you mentioned siblings being involved in 1974 and 75, and Alan Muscat won the state contest here. And then in 1976 and 97, his brother Gary Muscat won it 2 years in a row. And I remember Gary Muscat is now, last I knew of, last year anyway, as a doctor in the emergency room at St. Pat's Hospital, and his brother is a cardiovascular surgeon in the hospital at Billings. Both very enthusiastic and supporters of our program. I'll go a little further, too, to say that, well, about the whole contest. After the post level, Montana is split into districts. And within these districts, for instance, in Missoula, district number 5, it covers the area from St. Regis to Drummond, from Arley and Condon to Hamilton. And there's a district contest held then of all the post winners in the district. And the district now is giving a $200 scholarship to the district winner. Then they advance to one of 4 zone contests within the state. And the winners of the zone contests give us the 4 finalists for our state contest. And the state contest will be held this next spring, in Missoula, at the Massacre Theater on Sunday of March the 7th. Now, we've all mentioned, you've heard talk about the awards that they give and scholarships. On the state level, first place now gets $800. This is provided $300 from the American Legion, $300 from Montana Power Company, $100 from Norco Products, and $100 from Intermountain Administrators, totaling $800 for the department winner. Second place winner gets $400. That comes from $200 from the American Legion Department of Montana and $200 from the Montana Power Company. Then the third place winners gets $250. $50 of that comes from Freedom Church in Helena, a church I really know nothing about, but they are interested in, for years they have supported this program, and $200 from the Department of Montana American Legion. Fourth place gets $200, $50 of that from the Freedom Church in Helena, and $150 from the American Legion Department of Montana. And then, in addition to that, we were very fortunate, starting last year, in conjunction with the Montana University of Montana here in Missoula, Dr. Dennison is providing, or the university is providing, a full year's, 2-semester fee waiver to the department winner. The second place gets a 1-semester fee waiver, and each the third and the fourth place winners gets a half a semester fee waivers at the university here. We're endeavoring to contact other units of the university system and see if we can improve upon that. That's in the future, though, and we certainly would hope that this would take place, because they all recognize the value of the program. We did apply unsuccessfully to host one of the national finals here in Montana for 1994. And the letters that we received in help for that, David Toppin, I think he's the Assistant Commissioner of Higher Education, Nancy Keenan, the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, were greatly enthused about the program and gave us letters in hopes that we would get this final contest. We didn't do that, unfortunately, but one day, possibly Montana will go back again. Now, I mentioned briefly this list of past state winners. We had 2, Bob Ripley, then from Kalispell, now he's in Missoula here, that advanced clear to the national finals and were in third place in the national finals. This was in 1944. And then a Colleen Gallagher, a young lady from Great Falls, in 1973, reached the national finals and third place on the national finals. Now, in the finishing up on the awards, the department winners go to the first of 3 national contests. Montana is grouped into Region 11, which is Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. They compete at that contest, and all contestants, win or lose, that attend the regional contest gets an additional $1,000. From the regional contest, they go to a sectional contest, and the United States is split into 4 sectional contests, and the losers at the sectional contest get an additional $3,000. And then, of course, the winners of the 4 sectionals go into the national finals, and there they come out with some real money. They're looking at $12,000, $14,000, $16,000, and $18,000 scholarships. So we really say that this is a contest where they can talk their way into a college education. It's open to boys and girls, and the only ones that can't repeat are those that win nationally. Everyone else can keep coming back, and that's why, as Jerry, I believe, was mentioned, it's of such great importance to have juniors or freshmen and sophomores get involved in the contest. They can, we like to have the middle school youngsters at least attend the contest to see what takes place and how they how the contests are handled. We follow national rules on this in every way. There's a panel of judges selected, and timekeepers, tabulators, judges, and all, and they're trained as to what their individual duties are. We want no problems whatsoever. We want nothing but fairness to all of the contestants, all up and down the line. I believe that covers the biggest share of it. Did you want to add to it, either one of you?
I was just thinking of a couple of things real quick. First of all, you mentioned that the Dr. Muscat was a
Yes.
winner.
Mhm.
And it's significant that some of the people who've been involved have gone on to major careers of that sort. But even for the other kids who get involved, there's an experience there for them. The experience of being on their feet in front of an audience that's, I think, is important. And whether or not they go on to become doctors or lawyers or whatever, I think it's a really good experience that kids should be encouraged to get involved in at the beginning at the grade school level. The other thing I wanted to say, and you touched on this, but to expand a bit, as far as the judging of the contests, the judging is done observing certain speech rules, but it's not done strictly according to the standard high school speech meet type of standards. There is some latitude for the judges to pay attention to how well the student is able to present the Constitution to them. So it's not strictly a speech contest in the sense that they're given points as if they were somehow involved in a speech class, so that people other than speech students can get involved, because it is a matter of a persuasive type of speech. So I think one of the things we found, a lot of the students tend to get a little bit reluctant because they think that, well, they're not a speech student and therefore they're not going to have any chance. Well, that isn't true. If you are into the topic, if you can talk intelligently about the Constitution and point out the things about the Constitution that affect our lives, you have a chance of convincing the judges that you could win that competition. So I think it's an across-the-board competition. I think that's something that I really like about it. It's not just an academic pursuit. It's not just an academic thing. It's an actual persuasive speech. So these students could go on in politics or whatever, but furthermore, it could help them just in their daily lives.
This is very true. I've had the opportunity to hear 3 of the national winners. In fact, we hosted here in Missoula last spring one of the 4 sectional contests, and a young black from California, Jack White, gave a remarkable talk. It was really so thrilling. We taped it. We sold tapes all over the state on this contest. But he started in, like we say, it has to be a deal with the Constitution, and they have to stress the citizen's responsibility. And that part of the contest is an 8 to 10 minute prepared oration. And in this particular part, this young Jack White, I remember, come out, it wasn't so long ago that your mothers couldn't vote. It wasn't too long ago that you couldn't vote unless you paid poll tax. And then he cited when that was changed by amendments to the Constitution. It was a remarkable speech, but they all are good. When they get up to that stage, you've got some remarkable young people. Now, the other part, I mentioned the 8 to 10 minute prepared oration. The other part of the contest, each year there are 6 predetermined subjects dealing with amendments to the Constitution. All contestants know what those 6 are. They call it an extemporaneous deal, but it's not the true extemporaneous deal. They know what these 6 subjects, one of which are drawn at each contest. So that makes up the extemporaneous part, and they talk from 3 to 5 minutes on these subjects. So that's the overview of what the contest really does amount to. Dan mentioned Frank Church from Idaho, one of the national winners, and they all really make a way for themselves in politics and professional life as a rule, seems like. But it does do a remarkable job, and I've got a full-page letter. I should get this to you, from the parents of a girl from Wenatchee, Washington. I think this was 2 years ago. And she had gotten up. I think she lost out at a sectional contest. But her parents wrote and went to great lengths to thank the American Legion for having this program. Cited, as Dan mentioned, how this girl just blossomed out in her ability to talk to people, handle herself, and they were very, very pleased about what she did, even though she lost at the sectional contest. They could see a great change in the girl herself and being able to handle herself, speak publicly, and so on. Well, gentlemen, I think we've covered pretty well most of the things. Is there anything, Jerry, that you want to add to it?
No, I was just going to say, I attended that sectional that young Mr. White won
yes.
here, and all of those speeches, I'm glad I wasn't a judge. I didn't know that we had that caliber of students. I thought only my generation had that. But they were excellent, and I got chills down my spine when he got up there and said how sweet it is. But no, this is great, and I'm appreciative of the opportunity to meet with you today and tell you about our post contest, and once again invite everybody to come. It's on January 24th.
We hope to do.
Okay.
Both posts will have contests. Excuse me. People that are involved in them will get word out as to when they are and where they are, and we certainly hope the public does take advantage of it. Thank you very much for coming, both of
Thanks,
you.
sir. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.